Hi, James here from myEstateHub. I'm excited at the opportunity to introduce to you our solution for electronic AGM, which we know will be a game changer in the strata management industry. If you are watching this video, you know that there's been some recent changes to the Act which allow electronic AGMs. And as chairman of my own estate for the last 7 years, I know this opportunity is too good to miss. All right, this is a game changer for the industry. And I know that once you've seen our demo, you will agree. myEstateHub has been bringing great solutions for estates since 2013, and our AGM solution is no different. But this solution is a standalone offering, so you do not need to be using our whole solution to implement this. You can get working with electronic AGMs straight away to take advantage of the window of opportunity you have. In fact, we are already working with 4 managing agents and we have 20 estates already in our pipeline to deliver electronic AGMs. We are the only provider that aligns with the Act, whether it be proxy management, whether it be voting by share, whether it be voting by lot, excluding for non-payment of fees. We do that alignment for you. We've taken a lot of experience from the MAs we work with and other chairmen that we work with to deliver a solution that aligns with what you guys need on the ground. All right. We have the full workflow going right through from SP and proxy registration at the start to the delivery of the meeting. We have some really cool things like presenter views for the presenter, right through to the meeting close, where we produce a read-only audit report that cannot be edited and cannot be copied. So, you have a complete history of the AGM. What's important is there's no app. All right, this solution is really easy to use. There's no complicated apps to install. There's no buttons to work through to get ready for this. It's really accessible. It's singly focused just on the AGM, so it's going to ensure maximum participation, even for those who don't have the IT skills. And that even applies to the MAs as well. We've made the configuration and everything and the presentation really easy to use and really intuitive, as you'll see from the demos that we do. Right? We've also created a themed experience that not only professionalizes the delivery of your AGM so that the MA can really create the right experience, but it also provides a rich experience with the resident. There are unique URLs to avoid confusion, and there's a familiar experience for the meeting attendees so that they feel comfortable using our solution. Right? And of course, our solution is built to enterprise quality standards. Our solution team includes ex-Microsoft consulting staff who have had experience architecting solutions for some of the biggest enterprise customers across the region and other government areas with the prerequisite performance and security that's required by those enterprise customers. We host on Microsoft's cloud for security, and we can scale up the solution to thousands of transactions per second as required. And of course, in architecting the solution, we have ensured transaction integrity for the voting process. So when everyone comes to vote, if for some unknown reason that vote fails, it doesn't go through. It either goes through or it doesn't. And if it doesn't go through, the SP just refreshes and votes again. Right? So we ensure that transaction and tracing. And of course, we have the full audit tracing at the end through to IP addresses and everything. All right, so I think I've done enough talking at the start. I've got a slide at the end, but what I want to do is really get in and show you a demonstration. So the experience I'm going to show you is the experience of the presenter view of a chairperson delivering the AGM and 2 SPs who are going to participate in the AGM and vote. I'm not showing the whole back end solution that can edit all the motions and all of that, and we can show that demonstration to other parties if they're interested. All right, now what's going to happen is I've also set up that these 2 SPs have already registered in the system. So 28 days out before the AGM started or whatever, you sent out the announcement and they've come in and they've registered in the solution and they've been confirmed. And so as we get closer to the AGM, what they are going to receive is they are going to receive an email that tells them about the AGM and tells them what their role is. It has any supporting documents that are attached to that one. It has the link to the Zoom call for the meeting, and it has their unique voting link. And every participant gets a unique voting link and a unique voting pin to use during the AGM. If you can see with this screen, you'll notice that this particular invite, the attendee not only has their own unit, but they're acting as a proxy for another unit. And so what that link takes you is, that link would take you to these two screens if you clicked on the voting link. Now, I've set these up as the two SPs. I've set them up to look like phones. One's a Galaxy S5, one's an iPhone 10, all right? Just to show you that it can be done on any device. Of course, with these electronic AGMs and electronic meetings, people will be using their laptops a lot, or their desktop computers. They won't all be using a phone. But in the future, when we get the Act changed to allow electronic voting during in-person AGMs, it's possible for this solution still to be used in that case, all right? You'll see here that if the participants click on the link, you'll see that it just comes up and says that there's no AGM currently active for this estate. That's because the AGM hasn't been made live for them to view the AGM. And so what I am going to do is, I'm just going to go into the solution and make the AGM a live solution so that it's visible to the public to use the solution. And you can see in this case now that when they click on home, this would be where they came in and registered. But of course, they've already done that in this scenario. So we're clicking on vote now, and you see that the AGM hasn't physically started yet. All right. So now what we've got to do is, we're coming to the day of the AGM. So people have been sent the announcement, they're all ready, and now we're coming to the day of the AGM, and we're going to have the AGM. So what happens from the MA, and what have we done to make it easy for the MA to deliver this AGM? And what you see is, we've got this presenter view for the MA to use, and it just makes delivering this AGM so easy. They don't have to think about numbers, they don't have to think about shares and lots and quorums and counting votes and which motion do I display and is it ready to vote. We make that easy, and a nice, really easy presentation view. And what the chairperson of the meeting will be doing is, they will be using this presentation view in combination with their PowerPoint deck to go through the motions and deliver the AGM. So you can see here, we've got a list of all of the motions down here, and you can jump to any of these motions to talk about the motions. At the moment, we're sitting on the home page, and there's some other buttons up the top here that I'm going to show you later. Now, of course, as you deliver a particular motion, you would flick back to your PowerPoint presentation, and you might deliver some slides for the PowerPoint presentation. So for example, when the meeting starts, you might have the chairperson giving a bit of an overview of what's happened in the last year, and then they'd pop back to the presenter view as they do the motion. So anyway, what's happened is, we've got ready for the Zoom call, we've set up the Zoom call, and we've started the AGM. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go and I'm going to open the meeting. So it's 10 a.m. and we've started our AGM. Now, of course, anyone who's had experience with AGMs know that everybody doesn't turn up on time. But now that we've started, what we're going to do is, we're just going to refresh the page. That's all the presenter has to do in a lot of these cases, is refresh the page. And they refresh the page, and can you see here, we're showing how many shares and lots are entitled to vote. And you can see that's less than the total. There were 52 lots, but only 51 lots are entitled to vote. That's because in the configuration, somebody hasn't paid their bill, and so they're excluded. They still, of course, if they attend the meeting, they still get included in the quorum, but they are not allowed to vote on motions, all right? And we need 55 shares for the quorum, so let's see what we're going to do. So we've opened up the AGM, people are starting to join the call, and they're coming into the call, all right? And of course, what happens then is, the people coming into the call, they just click on vote, and you can see that the system automatically recognizes and says, hey, join the meeting. We've got to track you and say that you've joined the meeting, because we're trying to get a quorum. And so Irene's going to join the meeting with her PIN, and James is going to join the meeting. Now, just to be clear, they can join the meeting at any time. Other participants can come into the meeting at any time and join the meeting. And if you're going to vote on a motion and the person's just joined the meeting, just come to the meeting, they will all be asked to join the meeting before they're allowed to vote. Okay, so we've got our 2 participants join the meeting, and of course, when they click on vote, there's no open motions to vote on yet. So they're sitting there in the meeting and we're waiting for the quorum. Now, what does the presenter have to do? That I have to go down through the Zoom chat and count people and try and work it out? No, it's just too easy. All they have to do is click on refresh, and you can see it's automatically worked out the current share value. All right, and we're calculating the share value. We're not close to 55, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to stick with that. So we've waited our half hour, and now it's time to start the meeting. So we're going to click on Start Meeting, and the meeting has started, and we're moving through the AGM. And all of that information is being recorded so that we can provide the audit report with that information. So in this AGM, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go through the whole AGM. I'm just going to go through 2 common motions, an ordinary motion and a special motion, and then we're also going to go through the process of electing council members just to show you the variations. Now, we do have a whole lot of other features to take account of particular situations in AGMs, like when people don't agree with the management fund fee and sinking fund fee, and we can do different things with all of those. But for the purposes of this demo, I am just going to show you those few scenarios that I mentioned. So let's go and now look at the first motion. So we've got the confirmation of minutes. You saw how easy it is. All I have to do, all the presenter has to do is go up to the motion and say confirmation of minutes. All right. We talk through the motion, talk, whatever we're going to do. And then we decide it's time to vote on that motion. And so what happens is the support staff, all they're going to do is they're just going to open the motion up for voting. And what does the presenter have to do? They don't have to do any fancy things. They just click on refresh, and you can see that there's a visual cue telling people it's time to vote for that motion. And what happens back on the 2 users? Again, it's not complicated for them. They don't have to put in much thinking. They just have to click on vote. And you can see when they click on vote, it just comes up and it shows them what they need to do and whether they're voting for or against the motion. So in this case, I'm going to vote for Irene, and Irene's going to vote for the motion. I'm going to vote as you notice here, it's telling me this is my unit and it's 4 shares, because for this motion, we're voting by share value. And you can also see that I'm the proxy for this other unit as well, that I can vote for this other unit. So I'm going to vote for the motion, and I'm going to put in my details here. And for the proxy, I'm going to vote against the motion. So I'm going to vote against the motion here, and I'm going to put those in. So we voted. If you click on vote again, you can't vote again. You can only vote once those transactions have gone through. Now, what's going to happen here is we want to let people know that we're about to close the vote. It's as easy as we've got a nice little countdown timer, all right? And so it's a nice visual cue telling the people on the call we're going to close the vote. Now, typically, what you would normally do in one of these meetings is you need an audio cue as well. So the presenter would typically have a little bell with them, and they'd ring the bell to let people know, look, we're closing the vote as well. And so we're going through that whole, that whole process. We're ensuring everybody has the chance to vote, because just like in a real AGM, once you close the voting, it's closed. Nobody can come back and make changes to it. It's all managed independently of the presenter, and it's all happening automatically on the back end to ensure that there's no chance of people interfering with any of the numbers or interfering with any of the results. Now, that said, I did a little bit of talking because I wanted to show you this cool countdown graphic, how it goes down and it goes through the different colors and counts down to 0. And so once it's count down to 0, we then say we've closed the motion, and we're going to go in and close the motion. So how do we see the results? Again, it's just really easy for the presenter. All the presenter has to do is just click on refresh, and we've got the result instantly in our system. This was just an ordinary motion, so it just means a simple majority. And so the simple majority, 63%, this motion passed for us. All right. So hopefully from that first demonstration, you've seen how easy this is. Let's try a special motion now. Now, those of you with experience with AGMs, you'll know that a special motion requires 75% or more. So it's just like an ordinary motion. There's just a different pass rate. Now, in our solution, we can configure all of the different motions, whether it's 90% pass or whatever we do. We have got all of those different types of motions that we do, but this one's a special resolution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the same process as before, and I'm going to open that motion for voting. All right. And again, what does the presenter have to do? They don't have to think too much. They just have to click on refresh. And again, nice graphic element. This vote motion's open for voting. Let's go back to our 2 participants and let's click on vote. You can see now they've got the next motion ready to vote. They don't have to choose options. They just click on vote and they're good to go. I'm going to vote this the same way. And I'm going to vote, Irene is going to vote for, and I'll explain as I do, because I know if I vote the same way, or perhaps I'll vote against it and the proxy will vote for it, I know that if we voted in the same way, it will be 63%. And 63% means even though it's greater than 50%, it's not enough for a special motion to pass. So everybody's voted, we're ringing the bell, we're telling people we've done the countdown and we're going to do the countdown, and now I'm going to close the motion for voting. And again, all I need to do is just refresh, and you can see this was only 63%. We didn't hit the 75%, so this motion has failed, all right? So you see how easy it is, no more counting, no more confusion, and in fact, even the SPs on their solution, what they can do is at any time, they can click on the results tab and they can see the results of the motions that have happened during the AGM, and they can see what the voting was like. They can see what they voted. And where this gets really good is at the end of the AGM, when the AGM is closed, we send out an email to all of the registered people saying what the results of the AGM were and how they voted. And where this gets really good is if an SP has got a proxy voting for them, at the end of the AGM, the SP will get an email showing how the proxy voted. How cool is that? All right. So that whole changes to the act where the proxy had to say how they were going to vote and we had to try and work out how to check that. We've just managed that transparently for you. Okay, let's now look at the process of council members. Now there's 3 motions connected together on this, all right? We first have the nomination of council members. We then have determining the number of council members, and then we have the election of council members. And I'm going to take you through those three motions, or those 3 parts of the AGM agenda, to show you how it is. So first of all, we're going to go to nomination of council members, and you can see I've got 3 council members already in here. These are the 3 nominees already in here, and these 3 nominees were given to us before the AGM started, and they've been pre-configured in and they're displaying those. But we all know during the AGM there'll be proposals from the floor. We've got to take input from the floor, and so we're taking input. If it's on a Zoom call, we're taking input either through a chat window, or we might unmute people depending on the size of the meeting, or however we're going to do it. We're taking those inputs, and in the back-end system, the admin support for the AGM that are helping the presenter, they're adding those in to the list. All right, and so they're adding those into the list. And so again, once they're added in, all the presenter has to do is just click on refresh, and we've got those extra participants. Now, I know some of you are saying, hang on a minute, you've only got 6. I've been to our AGMs, we've had 20. Now, if you have 20 or more participants, this screen automatically resizes and fits them into 2 columns and shrinks them down a little bit, and everything works with the extra participants. So we can handle those extra. We've been talking to MAs about what their experience is and how many they do. So we've got the nominations. We've got the nominations for council members ready. All right, so we've saved those. Now we're going on to the next motion where we have to work out the size of the council. So we're now going to determine the number of council members. Now, again, we're going to go back to the floor and we're going to ask them for input. So we're going to say, all right, who's proposing? What do you propose? 3, 5, 12, whatever. Now, as a chairman, and as a chairman for 7 years, I love small councils. And I love odd-numbered councils. So I've got pretty strong views on this. But anyway, what we've done is we've gone to the floor and we've gone and asked for council members. So in this scenario, what we're going to do again is the presenter All they have to do is click on refresh, and we've put in the information for the council, for the number of council members. All right, so we've got 3 choices, 3, 5, and 7. So now we're going to open that up for voting. We're going to open that up for voting and let people decide on how many council members they want. Now, this is a little bit different. This is not for or against. This is a choice. So same thing again, we've opened it for voting. So all the presenter does is click on refresh. And now it's got the visual cue. Let's go back to our 2 SPs who are going to vote. Again, all they have to do is click on vote. And you can see now they're getting a view where they have to select an option for a list. This option has been configured that they can only select one choice. So you can see with Irene here that I'm only given the option to select one choice. All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit that selection. All right. And I'm going to, because I love small councils, of course, I'm only going to vote for 3. And what we're going to do is the proxy's not even going to vote. All right. So the proxy's not even going to vote in this situation. Now, again, no, this is voting by share with this. All right. So we've done that. We're going to close the motion for voting. We're going to go back to the motion, and all the presenter needs to do is refresh. And you can see that we have the totals already put in. And then what will happen is that the admin support can go in and as the presenter says, well, okay, it looks like it's a 3-member council, admin support will just go and update the final decision. And again, all the presenter needs to do is refresh the page, and we've visibly got the cue that we've got the final decision that it's going to be a 3-member council. Now, remember, the proxy didn't vote. In the audit report, we record that the proxy didn't vote. So we don't just record whether you voted and who you voted for. Even if you didn't vote, we record the fact that for that motion, you actually did not cast a vote. So we've got the number of council members. So now we've got to vote on our council. So let's go down and we'll go to the next motion, which is the election of council members. We've already got the list from the nomination of council members. We don't have to enter the list in again. It's all very easy. And what we've done in this list, because it's 3 members on the council, we've limited the selection so that the SPs can only choose a maximum of 3 options. All right. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to open the motion for voting now. So I'm going to click on opening the motion for council members. Again, all the presenter has to do is click on refresh. And now we're voting again. They've just clicked on refresh and they're voting. So let's now go back to our screens for our SPs. And again, all they have to do is each click on vote, and you see they're given a list. And if you see here, if Irene tries to vote for 4, when she clicks on submit selection, maximum of 3 choices allowed. Yeah, so we're limiting the choices, and they have to fix it up. So now Irene goes into votes, and I put in. Oh no, it's the wrong pin. I put in James's pin. I should have put in Irene's pin. So let me put in Irene's pin. All right, and so Irene has voted. So let's now see, who am I going to vote for? I'm going to vote for the same people just for the sake of the exercise. And then maybe the proxy just wants to vote for Gurnet. So let's go for the proxy, and we've voted. So everybody's voted now. So now we come back, you know, we would do the countdown and whatever we're going to do, and then we would close that motion for voting. And again, all the presenter needs to do is click on refresh. And you can see now we've got the totals there. Now, what I forgot to mention is, and I could probably just quickly flick back to one of these screens, you notice that in this situation, we were voting by lot. Can you see that on the SP screen, we're voting by lot in this scenario? We're not voting by share. All right, so we're back on the presenter screen and we've elected the council members. And look, this is easy because it was pretty clear. We've got options to help you if it's not super clear who's won and how you can manage that. But again, in the background, what's going to happen is that's going to get updated with who's won. And all the presenter has to do is just click on refresh again, and look, they're the selection and they're the choice for the motion. So with that, what you've seen is you've seen you know, a pretty good demonstration of our solution and how it aligns with the Act and how it looks really professional, and it provides an easy AGM, electronic AGM to you. But we still also provide support if you need it. We typically provide virtual support where we join the AGM, our staff join the AGM as it's being delivered virtually, and we help going into the chat room, and if there's technical help, we can do technical help and things like that. But if you really need in-person support, we can provide that as well. That's a physical person in the room with you during the AGM. Now, what we do, which is important, is before the AGM, we do a full review of how you've done the setup to make sure it's all being configured correctly. And you can even do on your configuration, you have the ability to do practice AGMs. We have the ability, if the managing agent has a standard AGM format, we can pre-configure that. And so when each estate starts their setup for the AGM, they can be pre-configured with that AGM content. We're in the process of building out some training videos, not only for the staff, but also for the meeting attendees. So at the start of the meeting, you'll be able to show a short video showing them how to vote. And then during the meeting, if they want to, they'll be able to go to the help screen and they'll be able to see little short, 1 or 2 minute videos showing them about that, how to do that specific task. Right. We also have some best practices around doing Zoom meetings and how to co-host and work together with, the actual estate chairman and your admin support staff while you're conducting the meeting. And of course, as mentioned before, we do the chat management in the online meeting virtually with you guys. All right. So it's a great time. It's a great opportunity. It's a great way to move Singapore forward into a new way of working. It's bad with COVID-19, but it really is the time to change the way we work and really step up to doing this. So you can see our contact details on the screen there. If you want to, support at myEstateHub.com, 6440-5122. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Really excited to share this solution with you.